this right here is the RG35XX SP, right? So let's pop this open, and inside we have the console itself, which we'll put to the side for now. And then you have underneath, oh, that's nice, a screen protector and some wipes, and also in here I'm assuming a power cable of some sort. Yep, Type-C power cable, and that's it. So let's put all this to one side. So this is a 35XX SP itself, and let's take it out of the bag. Take a look at that. That's quite nice. It's interesting sort of feel. It's a surprisingly matte. It's not glossy as I would have expected. So let's bring in the SP for comparison. So the 35XX SP is slightly bigger in terms of width and also in terms of height. But I don't think it's a massive difference. It's close enough. Anyway, so let's take a look at this thing, right? So you have obviously the clamshell style flipping lid. So down at the bottom, you have a headphone jack and 2 micro SD card slots. One is for essentially for the OS, and this, from what I understand, can be a maximum of 64 gigs. You can use a bigger SD card, a micro SD card, but the operating system is limited to 64 gigs, so it's going to be a waste. It comes with the one included. We'll take a look at that in a bit. And also there's another slot for if you want to use a separate micro SD card for ROMs or anything else, which I would recommend. It would be a good idea. So let's take a look at this micro SD card. Oh, and this really impressed me. So this is the micro SD card that came with the 35XX SP, and this is, as you can see, by Kioxia, which is a sub-brand of Toshiba. So this is actually a very good quality card. I have quite a few of these myself just lying around because they're cheap and honestly surprisingly very, very good. So yeah, I'm very happy it came with one of these as opposed to just a completely random unbranded card. So that's good to see. Normally I'd recommend, essentially buying a branded SD card and swapping this out, but considering it's a Kioxia card, you really don't need to. It's perfectly fine as it is. Cool. So on the right you have the power button and an R button, which I'm assuming stands for reset or something, and also the LEDs. On the back you have obviously the triggers, L1 R1, L2 R2. You have a Type-C port for charging and anything else, and a mini HDMI connector. On the left you just have the volume up and down, and on the back you have the compartment for the battery. This is, I believe, a 3300 milliamp hour battery, and from what I understand, the battery on this actually lasts a surprisingly good amount of time. Now flipping it open, you have a sizable screen right there. So that's a 3.5-inch screen, which is where the 35XX comes from. So a 3.5-inch screen, 640 by 480 pixels, and then the buttons are very clicky, which has been mentioned quite a few times already. They're not bad, but they are quite loud, so that's something to just be aware of, right? The D-pad is very good, and so are the face buttons. Like they seem quite responsive, and I don't know. There's a lot of like tactile feedback, so that's quite nice. Same with all the other buttons. So yeah, so you have the D-pad, A, B, X, Y, start, select, and also like a mode button as well. It also comes with Wi-Fi and Bluetooth built in, and it runs a Linux operating system, basically a custom-made operating system by Anbernic. And yeah, so let's give it a try and turn it on, right? There we go. So it takes probably about half a minute to turn on, 20-30 seconds altogether. And yeah, on the micro SD card that comes with this, it comes with a bunch of games as well. And there's actually like a very good selection. So in terms of the overall specs of this thing, this is running the H700 all-winner chip, which has been used in all the other 35XX and also the 28XX devices by Anbernic. So it's a known quantity at this point. Essentially, it can play anything up to PlayStation 1 like flawlessly, with probably like a 2 to 3x upscale. Anything above that is more hit and miss. It can play a few PSP games, a few Dreamcast games, a few N64 games, but it's not going to play them particularly well. Anything up to PS1, you should be perfectly fine. Anything more than that is where you're going to have to experiment and see if it works for you in particular. This is the stock operating system. You have game rooms and RA game. From what I understand, game rooms is like a legacy thing. RA game is what people tend to recommend, and essentially they're both pretty similar. So I tend to use RA game, and yeah, it just shows you all the consoles that are available on your device, and then if you click into any of them, it's going to show you all the ROMs that you have available for that system. There's also favorites, so this is like a favorites list for all your ROMs. History, where you can see what you've been playing. A search bar, an app center with a fair few apps, as well as the settings. Cool. In terms of other operating systems, there's quite a few pieces of custom firmware already available for the 35XX series of devices, and most of them should work perfectly with the SP. Again, the stock firmware is fine. It's usable. It's good enough. So there's probably at least another good 3 or 4 custom firmwares out there that should work perfectly with this device, including actually a fork of Batocera. And if you're interested, leave a comment down below, and I can try doing some setup guides for each of the various different operating systems, and a deep dive comparison between all of them. But yeah, for just getting it up and running, the stock operating system is perfectly fine, but it's not the best experience by any stretch of the imagination. Alright, so let's try out the original Zelda, shall we? And yeah, as you would expect, the original NES Zelda is running perfectly fine. So let's quit out of here. So for SNES, let's take a look at Final Fight. And yeah, as you can imagine, SNES works perfectly. Absolutely no issues there. So let's take a look at the system that everybody is buying this for, right? GBA. So let's see what games they have available. Nice. Mega Man Battle Network is my absolute jam. So as you can see, there's quite a nice frame around Game Boy Advance games. And this is obviously emulated, right? So like if I were to open up my SP, it's literally this border is part of the screen, right? So comparing them, this is a completely emulated border, whereas this is the real thing, and it's quite nice. Like it's a very nice throwback, right? And actually, looking at them side by side, the 35XX SP does have a pretty substantially bigger screen. Like it's hard to see in video, but in person it is actually a good bit chunkier. So that's quite nice. And yeah, this is running a smooth 60. Yeah, absolutely no issue here. And this is running with RetroArch, so you have all the various settings and commands and everything, and you can configure this as well in the back end. It's a bit of a pain to get to, just because of how Anbernic configured everything, but you can do it. I don't know if you heard that, but there's a bit of a buzzing sound sometimes when you open up and play games. And yeah, now let's try PS1. This is a 4:3 inch screen, so pretty much everything is going to look great on this. Again, basically everything up until the PS1 is going to look amazing. And then after that, you're going to get some black bars, but it's not too much of an issue. And yeah, this is running at, again, a very smooth 60. No hiccups whatsoever. So another nice thing about this is these right here are front-firing speakers. So unlike other devices where it's like down-firing or side-firing, this is pointed directly towards you. So the audio on this is going to sound great. Also comes with Wi-Fi and Bluetooth built in. Network settings, yeah, Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. And also Moonlight. So you can stream directly from your PC to this machine. It's going to work perfectly. You can also, because there's Wi-Fi built in, you can set up retro achievements as well. There's also the fact that this, if you configure it in settings, this will go to sleep once the lid is shut. So the lights have turned off, and then if I flip it back open again, it pops up again. So that's quite nice. The thing is with the sleep function on this device, especially on this particular firmware, is that you're still losing between 3 and 5% per hour. So it's not great. So I believe what you can do instead is set it up such that it shuts down when you close the lid. So it shuts down pretty much instantly, and it saves your progress. And then when you flip it back open, it's gonna start up again, which takes probably 20 to 30 seconds again. But then at least that way you don't lose your 3 to 5% battery percentage every hour. So you preserve the battery. On the subject of battery life, I haven't done any extensive testing. I literally just got this in now. But from what I understand, the battery on this is very, very good because, you know, it's fairly big. Because of the form factor of this, they can fit in a fairly chunky battery and, you know, keep the screen size and everything else the same. So this lasts anywhere from, say, 6 to 8 hours, generally playing, you know, games up to the PS1. And if you push it, obviously it's going to be less than that. But yeah, honestly, like I really like this device. And comparing it again directly to my SP, it's pretty much bang on. Like it's really really nice. I have the Powkiddy V90 as well, which you know also has the exact same sort of form factor. But honestly, it felt pretty like cheap and plasticky. Whereas this, like, it's solid. You know, the build quality on this thing is good. The hinge feels nice. The specs and the internals of this are all solid. I'm very happy with this. Very, very, very happy indeed. So overall, this is honestly a very good device. It's, you know, a perfect nostalgia throwback to the OG SP. And really, Anbernic have hit it out of the park with this. The colors are nice. You know, there's silver, there's grey, there's transparent black and transparent blue. And the transparent colors in particular are quite interesting because what you can do is you can essentially take off this cover, place an image here and put the cover back on, and then you have your own sort of like semi customized, personalized device because you can see the image through the transparent shell. Honestly, they've done a very good job. I'm very happy with this. The buttons are good, the ports are good, it comes with Wi-Fi, it comes with Bluetooth, the battery is good, the screen's good, and yeah, the performance is solid. Anything up until the PS1, it runs perfectly smoothly. Honestly, Anbernic have done a very, very good job, and at this point, it's just a matter of time before we get some more competitors in this sort of clamp shell style design. So probably I would assume Mew, Retroid, a couple of others, Powkiddy. I'm just waiting for a few more devices. And to be fair, like, and to be honest, like, considering that Powkiddy came out with the V90 years ago in this sort of form factor, I'm surprised we haven't had many devices since. But again, you know, Anbernic have always been one of the biggest players. So the fact that they've come out with this and it's made such a, and it's done so well, means that, you know, all the other companies are going to be vying for the same slice of the pie. So if there's any more, I will let you know. I'm probably going to pick them up as well, just because I like this form factor. I love the clamshell design. You know, it protects the screen, and I'm a big fan of the SP. So if there are any more, I'll let you know. I'll pick them up, and we'll do some comparisons. One last thing is about the battery. There's quite a lot of chatter online about the battery overheating and melting some plastics as it's being charged. As I said before, right? It comes with a USB Type A to C cable, right? And I would recommend only using these types of cables with this device, and especially only using non-fast charging wall adapters. So if you use a wall adapter that's anything above 5 volts, you could seriously risk, you know, overheating the battery in this as it's being charged. Again, there's a bit of chatter about it online. Just to be safe, I would really recommend just use a Type A to Type C cable and use your standard 5 volt 2.1 amp charger, and that's it. You know, it's a real shame that this is even a problem because it seems like something, you know, that should never have gone through QA because it's a serious fire hazard. Because if the battery is getting to the point where it's melting the plastics, that means it's heating up to around like 100 degrees Celsius, and that's a serious fire hazard. So again, just be careful with the charging of this device. Maybe wait a bit until Anbernic have actually issued a proper fix. But honestly, it's a good device as long as you're careful with the charging and you only use, you know, like a Type A to Type C cable and don't use a charger that's above 5 volts. You should be perfectly fine. But still, yeah, I can link a Reddit post down below, and I'll show it on screen here, going over this exact issue. But yeah, just a word of warning. Overall, again, as I said before, it's a perfectly great device. but just be aware of that. If you're interested in my impressions of the Steam Deck after 1 year, click somewhere up here, and I will catch you next time. Cheers.